Guys, we will be starting the session very soon. Please ask your friends to join. Okay, let us begin. Good morning, everyone. Google Developer Student Club of Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Engineering, Navi Mumbai welcomes everyone present here to Hack Week event series. Hack Week is going to be a three-event series that is going to be conducted on 8th, 10th, and 12th of November. Starting with day one, that is web development from scratch, we will learn the basics of web development, the front end, back end, and database fundamentals. We will also be developing a project in real time that is a chat application using Google Firebase. On day 2, we will go deeper into the web development practices and learn about SQL and NoSQL databases, working and functioning of Google Firebase, and serverless concepts. And finally, complete the project that we started on day 1. With that introduction, let us begin with our speaker's introduction. Starting with Ankit Joshi, he is a technical team one lead of Google Developer Student Club. He has a good experience working in different IT startups where he has helped them to develop various products from scratch. His expertise lies in several domains, which includes web development, cloud, IoT, and game development. Today, he will be doing live coding where he will guide us in developing front end of a real-time chat application. Our second speaker is Amit Patil. He is also a technical team member of our GDSC. Amit has done internships as a full stack developer where he was tasked with the backend integration with several cloud providers. He has also done various certifications in AWS and IT support. Today, he will introduce us to web development and why we should learn it. Also, on day 2, he will guide us in backend integration, authentication, and database connection of the project. That is real-time chat application. With that, let us begin our event. Over to you, Amit.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayuresh, and I hope I'm audible. So, first of all, I welcome you all to this Hack Week, and today let's start with the event agenda of day one as well as day two. So, in day one, we will be covering what is web development, why we should choose web development, and some the coding of the front end part of this app. So the coding of the front end part of the app will be explained by Ankit Joshi, and that will be covering all the basics of HTML, CSS, and JS. And in the end of the day one session, we will also have a Q&A, short Q&A, wherein we will be taking in doubts from the viewers as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, so coming to day two will be handled by me, and I will be introducing you to the backend part of the application. Along with that, I will also be explaining you what exactly is SQL and NoSQL database, what are the pros and cons of both the databases. Along with that, I will also be introducing you to the how we can interact with Firebase, that is the backend integration and backend connectivity of the app front end application with Firebase. And along with that, I will also be doing a live coding session wherein I will be explaining you the different methods and functions that I will be using of Firebase and building some of our own as well. Okay. Yeah. Next slide, Ankit. Yeah, so before jumping into the live coding session of today, let me give you a brief introduction of what exactly is web development and what all roles are there in web development. So, web development refers in general to the tasks associated with developing websites, and that those websites are hosted on the intranet or internet. So, internet might be our local browser, and the intranet might be something that is used in our companies or infrastructural phase kind of thing. So the two main profiles in web development as of now are the front end developer and the back end developer. So front end developer takes care of the what is seen by the user, what the user sees on his web browser or on his screen. So that includes the UI part, the visual aspects like layout, navigation bar, etc. And that also includes fetching of data using some APIs, calling of APIs, and populating the website with the fetched data from the API. And coming to the other major part of the web development, that is the backend part, that takes care of the integration. That takes care that developer takes care of the various backend kind of things that are not visible to the user. So that includes hosting, database maintenance, authentication, and that kind of stuff. So we our main motive for today and the next day would be to give you a brief introduction of both these profiles. And yeah, these are some kind of classical profiles right now. As of now, there are also various other profiles which include full stack developer as well. So full stack includes both front end and back end, that is taken care by one single person itself. Next slide, Ankit. Yeah, so this would be the why part, why you should choose web development. Again, this is one of the career choices that you have along with various other choices. And the let me tell you why we, Amit Patil, Ankit, and our team members were entering in web development. So the best thing would be that we build our stuff, we create our own stuff with lots of different libraries, lots of different UI components as well. And the starting costs are very low. So it's not like we need to train some kind of proprietary software. What we have to learn, we can apply it on a browser that is available on every single system as of now. So we can share anything that we build with our friends, with our colleagues, with our faculties. So that would be just whatever we have, whatever we have done, we can share it with you. Like Ankit Joshi will be giving you a website demo wherein whatever we have built as of now, you can check it out for yourself as well. Again, there will be a huge job market as well. There is a lot of demand in as a web developer, both classical web developers and full stack developers as well. And for the people who are there in the front end, they get a lot of scope, they get a lot of freedom for being creative. They can design a UI as per their require, as per how they visualize. So there is a lot of creative part in the front end web development as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, so components part, the three main founding pillars of web development, as we call it, is the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We can also call it as a vanilla stack, wherein we are using the pre-existing technologies. So anything that you are seeing on the browser that we can see with our normal eye, that is generated via the HTML. The CSS part includes the styling and how that content is presented to you, like what is the font, what is the text size, what is the font color, or each and every kind of thing that is handled by CSS. And JS, as usual, it takes care of the interactivity part of the websites, like what happens after you click a button, what happens after you put the text into the text field. That is taken care by the JavaScript. Of course, these are the main founding pillars as of right now. Advanced web development includes various different frameworks, but this is the founding pillars, and each one of us, every web developer has to start from here itself. Next slide, please. Yeah, so what we'll be doing today is we will be building a beautiful responsive site using vanilla stack as well. So we will be including some kind of different various methodologies which include responsive web design as well, which enables us to have a website that is compatible with both desktop screens as well as mobile screens as well. So the main reason behind making it compatible with mobile screens is that there is a huge market for mobile devices as of now, and the main content consumption is primarily done by smartphones itself. So any kind of website that we design, we have to keep a mobile user as a primary focus, and then a desktop and then a desktop user. And with that, we will be using different kind of the css libraries and fluid grids and flexible images, which enable us to have our website compatible with both mobile and desktop users. Next slide, please. So yeah, so coming to be what are we going to build today? What's the main application that we are going to build today? So what we'll be building today is a real-time chat application from scratch. So that will include various features such as multiple users can chat at the same time, responsive design, and authentication via Google account. So the main reason for using Firebase in this case is that we wanted to demonstrate you how you can build a enterprise grade application, or something that can be used in our day to day life basis using Firebase, and how quick it is. So that's why we have included Firebase here. So this would be the system design diagram wherein we show what the basic working of the real time chat application is. And the technologies that we would be using is, again, we have kept it simple. That would be HTML, CSS, JS. And for the DOM manipulation, we have also included a little bit of jQuery here and there. Don't worry, this might seem a little bit of complex as of now, but I'm pretty sure Ankit and me will take you along the whole journey without any difficulties. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so that's it from my side. Thank you very much for the introduction. And over to you, Ankit. All the very best.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Amit, for explaining us very nicely about the importance of web development and why we should learn it. Uh, so at JDSC, we believe that believe in more of a practical way of learning, and that's why we have taken a very interesting project, which is a real-time chat application, and we will be building it from a very scratch. Okay. So before we start, we will just quickly show you a demo what we will build in these 2 days. So, okay. So, I think you guys can see the screen, right? So I will just quickly sign in. So when you will open the site, even if I reload the site, this is the first pop-up that you will see. And so whenever you open the site, first there will be a Google authentication. You have to sign in from any account that you want. So if I sign in from my account, yeah. So as you can see, there are different messages, and it's syncing in real time. So I can put here okay. So let me show you it's working in real time. I will just open the new browser and I will again open the same link. Okay. So name might be my name might be same in this two account, but there is a difference in the profile. You can see that there is no profile for this account, and for this there is one profile from Google. So and put like okay. So this is pretty much the whole application. Uh, as you can see from both side there are these messages. So we'll start. So today what we will do is that we will build the front end of this application. And okay, so all the database connectivity and the authentication part will be done on the day two. And today we will just design the whole front end, and we'll make some helper function so that those can be done by at the at the on the day two. Okay, so let me just do one thing over here. uh, mm, okay, so Amit, what you can do is that for this to see the demo for everyone, you can just send the link to everyone, and even you guys can message from your side, and let's see if it is syncing in real time.
Shall I share it now?
Yeah, please put in chat if possible.
Yes, Ankit, I've put it in the chat. Uh, I can. I think we can proceed ahead.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, so as a front end developer, whenever you are working as a front end developer, it is important. This is how it works. Like most of the time, you will get a design from any UI designer, and your work will be to make a design according to that. So we will be also working in a similar fashion. We will be designing this application. We will take this application as a reference, and we will try to build a UI similar like this. Okay, so to quickly get started, we have made a repo. Amit, you can put this link also to quickly get started. This is a very small template. Actually, there is nothing inside the file. This is just a folder structure. To save our time, we can just quickly get started from this. So if you guys are like following along with me, then you can just clone this repo, okay, and then we can quickly get started.
Yes, Ankit, the event is closed. Link is placed in the chat, Ankit.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, so okay, so first thing that I will do is explain you the layout part. It's not very complicated. We have an HTML file which is totally blank, and we have some configuration that is already done, which is the title of the app, and then we have Bootstrap installed. Again, this will be explained by me later on when we will use some Bootstrap code. So I will tell you how to use Bootstrap in your project, right? Then coming back to other folders, so as the name suggests, all the CSS files we will put in this folder. Okay, currently we have some CSS file which is empty. Then we have the JS folder, and the JS file is also again empty. And then the resources is not very important. This is just for my reference for taking different colors. And yeah, so this is much all about the whole layout part. So I think we should get started. Before again, I'm using VS Code as my editor. You can use other code editor like Sublime also. The main advantage of VS Code is that you get lot of extensions, and let me show you how it will work. So there is one extension called live reloading. Okay, now generally what happens when you design any HTML app, you have to open that HTML file in the browser, and then each time you update something, you have to reload that file. So what we can do is that there is an extension called Live Server by Ritwik Day. So what it does is that let me show you. So once you install this extension, which I have already done, you will get an when you do a right click, you will get an option of open with Live Server. So let me just open with the Live Server, and as you can see, this is the file that we get. So if I update it, let's start with the hello world. So you can see, and let me just correct this, and I'm just saving it, and it will update over there. So it is a very handy feature. It will increase your speed. Okay. Now coming back to the layout. Okay. The first thing that when you are provided with any design, the first thing that you should do is try to see try to create first the whole layout, which you can see right now. Don't just directly start from creating these messages and all. Start with the outer border. So as you can see, there is an div. So we will keep our first aim to create a div which will be at the center, and it will be having a particular height, and it will be responsive. So if I just decrease my height, you can see that the height of the application is also decreasing. So we have to make it responsive like this. So what we can do is that we can just simply start by creating a small div, right? And we can name it as chat container. Okay, cool. So we have a chat container with us. The only thing is that now we need to see like what width and what height that particular div is having, right? So along with this HTML file, we will also do the CSS. Okay. So what we can do is that to know what height and width is, we can simply just give it some border. Let me give some border style as solid, and let's give some radius to it. Sorry, width, I suppose. I think this will do. Yeah. So we have you can see there is a border, right? Now we can see that the width of the div is actually the 100%, and if you see the content, sorry, if you see the height, it is depending on the content. So like if I added something over here, like after a br high, if I add high, then I think that, yeah, so you can see that the height will increase, right? So the height of this div is the minimum height, you can say, is depending on the content which it has, and then the width is full maximum. So first let's change that. So we want height to be responsive, and to be of a as you can see over here, it should be like covering pretty much the whole height of the screen. So what we can do is that we can give height as okay. So let's increase the minimum height, because minimum height is right now according to the content. So we can do it as around 90 VH or something. Okay. So now you can see there is a height of 90 VH, and now let's configure the width. Width can be around let's see 70 VH. Okay. So I think yeah, it's pretty much the same. Okay. Now, okay. So, what is VH, right? There is a pixel over here, and this here is a VH. So the difference between two is that pixel is nothing but an absolute measurement or unit, you can say. Like this will not change on your screen size. It will be an absolute. It will be 3 pixel for every screen. Then VH is nothing but the viewport height. So this will be a relative. It will depend on your screen height. So that's the difference. Whenever you have to make some responsive width, you have to give a responsive height or width, then go for VH or VW. So that both will work fine. Okay, so we have this thing. Okay, so I think we need some padding. I think there is some padding over here, and we need to make it to the center. So first, let's bring it to the center. Yeah, it's in the center. And let's okay, so let's also create one another div, which will be like a parent to the whole app. So there is another why we are using this as a parent div is that all the global styling that we have to do, we can provide it in the app. Sorry, the class which is at the root. So what it will do is that all the child elements that are there will inherit those properties, right? So if you want to have some font of a particular family, font family, then you can configure that in your parent div, the root div. And if your child doesn't want, child container doesn't want it, then you can overwrite it. So first thing first, let's create that div. Padding we can give around 1%. Okay, so we have 1% padding. And yeah, so let's start. I think the first aim that we wanted to do was to make a div of a particular height, so that we are done with, right? Now let's start with the coloring part. We can give a background color to this and also to the inner div. So what I was talking about before about the inheriting, so we will see more clearly here. So that okay, so let me just take the I think, yeah, this one. Okay, so if you see, now the whole app is having a background color, and even the child div is inheriting that background color, right? So this is kind of acting as a global style, right? So you can say it like that. There is one more problem I think we have is that there is some space remaining over here, right? So what we can do again, we can increase the minimum height. Mm, we can give 100, which will it will be like a full screen. Okay, so it is done, and then we have to configure the child background color. Okay, so we have, I think we are done with this. Then the next thing, okay, we are not able to see the content, right? Let's change also, like since it is a like a dark theme app, we can configure all the color to be white. Okay, so the color is white, but I think this is also the border color is also white right now. So we can also do that. Okay, cool. So it's looking good. Okay, so I think we are done with the background color and all. Now let's come more deeper, right? Now we have made the outer layout. Now let's start with the. You can call this as a chat container, because what we are calling this. Yeah, chat container. So in chat container, you can see there are three rows, right? So first, let's start by doing these three rows first. Okay. So to make three rows, nothing special to be done, because each div we can just place one div after another, and there will be three divs, right? So we can make one div as what we can say, chat container header, and this will be the messages part. Okay, cool. So let me just put something in here. Header. This will be the messages, and this will be the footer. Okay, so we have these three divs. Okay, now next thing that we can do is that as you can see that the minimum height of this particular header div is depending on the content, right? If we have more content over here, then automatically the height can increase, right? So we don't have to worry about the first div. But if you see the messages part, there are lots of messages, but still the height of this particular div is constant, right? So we have to make the height of the messages div to be constant. And again, I think the footer is also same. It will depend upon the content which is in that div. So let's start first with giving some border so that we will know what actual width height it is taking, right? So we will just create first all the three classes that we have just made. This will be messages, and next thing is footer. Okay, cool. So we have these three divs and we can then style them. So as of right now, okay, so if you see that what we can do is that we can give the bottom border to header and we can give an upper border to footer, so that we will know like what is actual width and height they are having, right? So here what we can do is okay, we can give border and then we want it to be in the bottom, right? So border bottom and then style. Okay, so this can be solid. And what else we require? Okay, we need some width. Width can be 2 pixel, and we also need the color black. Okay, so the same thing we require over here also in the footer. Is just that here it will be on the top. Okay, yeah. So now you can see that now all the three divs are divided, right? Now let's configure this message part. Let's give it some constant height. So here what we can give is height to be around let's give 80 each for now. Yeah, I think this is yeah, good. The header part will I think increase, then the footer will again come down. So it will look, I think it will look similar, or we can change it later on. Okay. So now what we decided that we needed to configure three divs. So we have done that, right? Now let's move on to one div at particular time, right? So let's do the header part first. Now what we can see is that whenever you have something like in the UI part, when you say something, there is an header and there in the side there is a button, right? So this is like an two columns, right? So whenever this type of case arises, it's preferred that you use some kind of a grid. Okay, now if you are using grid, HTML CSS it can also provide you with the grid system, but there is some external libraries like Bootstrap, which really makes our coding much faster, and we can get a lot of flexibility in those also, right? So we will be using Bootstrap. So I have already added the link, but then again, how to add that, right? So you can just go for the latest version of Bootstrap on the side. Okay, cool. So you can see there is a CSS file to the Bootstrap, which like we have already added this file, and then there is a JavaScript file. Now the reason Bootstrap file is nothing but the CSS file, right? So we are designing our, like what we are doing is that we are adding some divs and then we are styling it over here, right? So this will be like an opposite. We are getting an CSS file already from an external, and there are some divs in it with certain names, and we have to create those divs and give that name as a class. Okay, so it will be in opposite way, but so they have a nice documentation which we will refer for those name of the classes, right? And so we are using as Amit explained you, JavaScript is nothing but you can just call it as a giving logic to your application, right? So there are some components in Bootstrap which require JavaScript, right? So we are not going to use that as of right now, but just for a safer side we will include the JavaScript file also. Okay, so I think we already have done the Bootstrap part. So the first thing that we need to do is create a layout, right? Sorry, create a grid. So grid is basically will come under the layout only. Okay, cool. So I think this is pretty much what we want, right? We want an two columns like this. So what we have to do is we have to make a row. Row is nothing but representing this whole div, and there are these three columns in it, right? So we can do a similar thing. So what we can do over here is, first we have to make a row, right? So we had made a row, and then we have to make a column. Okay, and there will be two columns. Sorry. Okay, so this will be nothing but the header part. So we can call it as S3, and then let's call it as GDSC chat room. And let's put some emoji here, fire emoji or something. And here we can put a button, sign out. Okay. Yeah, we have the, I think the heading part is pretty much it's looking same. The sign out button we have to style, right? And again, there is some difference, right? We see that the column which sign out button is taking is smaller than this part, and that pretty much makes sense, right? Our heading can be larger also, so we need one column to be larger and one column to be shorter. So I think they also have that kind of feature. Let me see. Mm, yeah, yeah, so this is pretty much what we want. We want one column to be larger and one column to be shorter. So 8 and 4. Okay, so what 8 and 4 is saying is that this div can be divided into 12 equal parts, and then 8 parts can be taken by first column, and the four parts can be taken by this column. So we will do similar thing. We can give it 8 parts, and then we can give this around 4 parts. Okay, so I think it is shifted over a bit over here. Now let's style the button also. So we can use Bootstrap to style the button also. So if you go on buttons, so as you can see, there are different styling. I think we have the secondary button. So it's BTN and BTN secondary. Okay. Okay. And then I think, yeah, it is styled. Okay. Next thing is, let's assign some class to it, because we need to make it float to the right. So let's do that. I can call this as button sign out. Okay. So in the CSS, we can float it to the right, and we can make it width as full 100%. Okay. Think we have not updated this. Yeah. So now it's good. I think we require some padding and background color. Okay. I think header. Yeah. So background color is black, I guess, and then we have some padding. Padding. Let's put 5 pixels. Yeah, it's, I think it's pretty much the same. Okay, so the header part is done. Now we can move with the studies. So let's start with the footer part first, because I think the, what you can say, the messages part will is little bit time taking, not that complicated. Let's do those things first, which will finish quickly, right? So the footer part is very similar to what we have designed. Okay, as you can see over here. Um, what we need to do is that we need to make two columns similarly like this, and in one column we need to have an input box, and in one column we need to have a send button like this. Okay, so let's do similar thing. So if I can come over this footer part, then column to be around 8, and here I can put input. Okay, so as for now, just give it a placeholder. Type your message. And the next thing that we can do is give it some class. Let's give some ID. Okay, this time. What we can do? Message input. Okay, that should do. We will add if something is required. And then there should be a second column which we can do as, I guess, 4. Okay, so here we can we need a button, right? Sorry. And button should be having some bootstrap classes, btn, and btn, I guess it's warning for yellow. Let me check. Yeah, and let's also give it some class button send. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let's see what we are using. Okay, cool. So we have input box and we have send button, right? So let's style for this input box. What you can see is that it is transparent, right? And what we have by default is white color. So let's try to change that first. You can come to CSS. So we have given some ID, right? Okay, so whenever you are selecting something by ID, you have to give an hashtag. And then you can give background color to be, I guess, transparent. Okay, so I think there is some still some border to it. Let's also remove that border. Border to be none. Okay, now two things we require to do. We need to make it full 100%, and when I focus on it, there is some outline, right? So let's try to remove that outline. So this is something like when we do focus, right? So we can attach it like this. So this will only work to those elements who are like an event listener or something like that. Okay, so focus works on those type of elements. So it controls the properties after we are focusing on that. So we can give outline. I think outline to be uh, yeah, I think none. Okay, so let's see it is working or not. Yeah, you can see it is not. And then okay, what we need to do? Okay, weight should be for 100%. Mm-hmm. Okay, still the color is remaining, I guess. The color we need to do as white. Okay, so I think the input box is configured. The send button similarly like this, we have to make it. So what we can do is that there is some same styling that we need to apply, right? So we can just make some classes which are. Let me show you first. What we can do is float, and then I can float it to right. Float left. So we can just add this class. We want it to be in right. Yeah, and let's also. I think we have that increases width. Okay. If we say okay, I think here the width is not 100%. So we can keep it 100%. It works the same. Okay. Now we have the input and the footer part is configured and the header part is also configured. Now we can move on to the messages, right? Now coming to the messages part, it is looking little bit complicated, right? So let's try to do the simple thing first. Let's try to create this text first. Okay. So this text can be like a message. Okay. So what we can do is that just I can create a div, small div, which will be called as message. Okay, and let's put some text in it. uh, what we can do, this is my message, okay. And we can have another div which will be like, so there will be two types of messages, right? One can be my message and one can be the sender, the other message, right? So let's try to differentiate those. We can give this as my message, and we can give this as what we can say, sender message. Instead of sender, let's give other. Okay. So we have my message and we have sender message, and you can see this both the messages are configured, right? So let me just change the text. Okay, other message, right? So there is one more thing I think we need to do. We need to add the sender name, right? Okay. So we can make a span over here, and we can let me just first give it some class, and we can call this as Ankit, and other message can be from anyone. Let's give Amit. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we now have the sender name and we also have the message, right? Now what we can do is, now let's try to make this bubble, right? Not a bubble, this is just an a div with some border and border radius, right? You can see it in that way. So what we can do is that we can just style this message part first, and let's start with giving some border. Okay, let's border radius we will give around 15 pixel, I suppose, and then border style, and what else we require. Yeah, border radius, I think we will not require it. Let's add it for now, just to see what we are in, and then we will remove it. Okay, so we have the border. Let's change the color to black. Okay, so it is looking good, not that good actually. We have to, first thing that we can see over here is that uh, even the message is long, there is some weight to it, a maximum weight you can say, and that is around less than 50% of the whole container weight, right? So we can do that. What we can do is, the max width we can control it to around only 40%. Think this will do. Yeah, it is now the same. Yeah. Okay, now we have I think we have done with the bubble part. Let's increase, let me see. Yeah, let's increase some what you can say, margin, give some margin between those, or okay, we will configure that later on. What else we require first? Okay, we need some avatar, right? So okay, so we have an asset folder. I think I forgot to mention you in the layout explanation. So you can create an asset folder, and all the external images that you want to use, you can put it over here, right? So we will be using that image over here, and what we can do is that let's try to create some another div, okay, which will be like a parent div, because this is representing a message bubble, right? We have these two divs which is called as message, which is representing a message bubble, and we can have another div which will be like a parent, whole parent div. So what I can say, message container. Okay, and in message container we will having an image. uh, Sorry. So avatar, and let's give some class also. avatar. Okay, and let's put this inside this thing. And so we have an avatar and we have then the message bubble, right? Similarly, we can do the same thing for this also. Instead of Ankit, Amit, other. Okay, and this will be another message. Okay, so let me see what. Okay, so I think we need to first uh, sort out the avatar first. Okay, we need to make it like a circle, right? So let's first style that. Uh, Avatar to be having a fixed height, I suppose, of 50 pixels, and width also we can give it as 50 pixels. And we need to make it like a circle, right? So we can give the border radius. Uh, yeah. So border radius we can give it as 50%. So it will be nearly like a circle only. And one more thing we should do is we have already created those classes, right? Left and right. So my message should be at the right, and the other message should be at the left, right? So let's also do that. So what we can do is that here we can. This is a my message, right? So it should be at the right, and here also we can add this class, right? And here we can add left. Okay. Okay, so we have these two divs. The only thing that we can see is that they are not. There should be a space between this, right? Once it is completing, and then it should be coming below this, right? Okay. So what we can do is that this message container. Uh, let's give it a full width. Okay, so the problem here you can see is that the message container div is actually not acting as a block element, which it should, right? So let's make it a block element. We can give it as an inline block property, so that the next div will appear below this. So what I can say is that display to be inline block. And this should work. Yeah. Okay, so it is coming down. I guess if you see. Yeah, so I think we are pretty much covered. Like we have added the author name, we have added the message, and yeah. So now let's give some padding to the message, and let's configure their background color. Okay. So okay, let's style the first the sender name. What we can do is let's change the color to something around gray or something. Not actually gray. Can be like this. Yeah. And there are two messages, right? One is my message, and okay, let me just first what I can say. Yeah. Okay, so what I can do is add my message. So I'm referring from over here. Okay, this is my message and this is other message. Okay, so this will be different, right? So that's why we have created two different classes for those. And my message we can give as background color something around, sorry, my message to be yellow around. Okay, and other message. Okay, so other message we can give something like orange. And let's also change the color, actually color to be black. So color will change the font color black. And what else we require? We need some padding also, right? So padding is a common property for those, right? So we can color also, so we can put that in the common container. Okay, so let me just bring this near this. And what we can do is padding to be around let's give around 2%. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, so I think it's fine for now. I think the radius part is not actually rendering over else. Let's see what's the problem. Border radius. Okay, so we need to increase the border radius. Let's do 15 pixel. Yeah, so I think it looks like a message now. And let's also what you can say, border width. Okay, so border radius we have. Okay, so here we have two properties: border width. Border width list 2 pixel, and let's just remove the border color for now. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, now it is pretty much same, right? I think we are done with this thing with the message part, right? Let me see what else is remaining. Yeah, so there should be some padding, I guess, in the messages. It's let's do some padding in the message container. Chat container header, and then we have messages, right? So we can do padding of around. Let's let's do 5 pixel. Okay, so I think yeah, it's working now. Okay, so there is still some problem where the UI part is like nearly done. The problem is that let me show you what the problem can be. If I just increase the messages, this is message container, right? Cool. Okay, so before we move further, until here, if anyone has doubt or something like that, you can put it in the chat. So we will just take a 1 minute of break. Okay, so put it in the chat, or I can see from here. Okay, so I guess there are no doubts till now. Okay, cool. So no issue. We will move further. What the problem that we will face, I will just show you. Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just increasing the messages, and let me show you what will happen at that time. Okay. So as you can see, the content that we have is overflowing, and since our height is constant for these messages, the inner content is going out of the div, right? So we can fix that, right? So when that is the case, you can what we want is a scroll bar, right? So that can be done very easily. What we can do is that in chat container messages, we can provide this overflow property to be auto. Okay, so whenever there will be overflow, there will be a scroll bar. Okay, yeah, over here, yeah. So as you can see over here, there is a scroll bar. Let me just sort out this first. X and okay, cool. What we can do is that overflow y to be auto, and yeah, there is still some problem, I guess. In So what we don't require is this scroll bar, right? And this should be also some there should be also some, it should be touching down this line, right? So let's try to fix that first. Okay, what we can do is okay. So I think we have some problem in the divs. Okay, Let me check what is the problem. Yeah, we have not copied everything correctly. Let me just fix that first. Uh, okay. Yeah. So always format your document. So you can do Shift Alt F for formatting. So what happened was that we copied an extra div. I think this should work. This is the div, and yeah. So let me just remove all the messages first. Okay, and what we have is this div, right? Cool. Okay, so we have. So we will just copy this thing first. Okay, and let's make it the sender message. Sorry, other message. It was other as is. Other, and then you can do it as left. And this also to be left. Okay, so I think everything is clear. Let's give Amit, and this is Amit. Okay, and let's increase that. In CSS, I think, yeah, everything is, I think, okay. Still we are we have we have messed up the footer part. Okay, let's see what we are doing. And then yeah, this you don't require. And oh, so now I think everything is clear. The footer part is also clear. There is a scroll bar. You can see there is a scroll bar over here, right? Now I think the let me see the footer part first. There is some padding to the footer part that we have missed to add, so we will add that. And you can see that we have a custom scroll bar, right? The default scroll bar that we get from the HTML is like this, so we can also modify those property as well, right? So let's start with doing some, what you can say, padding to the footer. So what we can do is padding to be around, let's give 5 pixels for now. How it looks. Okay, so it looks good now. Okay, now for scroll bar, it's not that complicated. Let me just first code it, and then I will explain you everything. Okay, so scroll bar is something which will be available from the WebKit. Okay, so WebKit is nothing which it is like an engine which HTML uses to style the default component. Okay, so we need to modify the scroll bar of chat container messages, right? So we can do this thing. Okay, and then we can, so WebKit, and then I guess scroll bar. Yeah, there is one more thing that we require. Chat container messages, WebKit, scroll bar, thumb. Yeah, and what else we require? Scroll bar, thumb, and yeah, uh, track. Yeah. Okay, so let me explain all these three classes, right? So you can see, if you see a scroll bar more clearly, there is a div which is an outer div which is in color yellow and silver. uh, and then this silver color, it is a kind of a div, right? So that div is called as thumb. You can call it as a thumb, right? And the thumb, which is it is scrolling in a particular area, right? So this white area, you can call this you can call it as a trackpad. So this is a track. Okay, so you need to modify the property of all these three classes. Then you can see that there is a difference, right? So let's start with first with decreasing the width of the scroll bar. So we can keep the width as 8 pixel. Okay, and the thumb color we need to be yellow, right? So what we can do is we can give background color to be yellow. Actually not yellow, it's around orange or something. Okay. And like, by the way, like the color highlighted that you are able to see, there is an extension called I guess color highlighter. Okay, so whenever you type any color, you can see that kind of a color highlighted in the VS Code. So let me just show you. I think it's called as color. Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, color highlighted by Sergi Naumo. Okay, so that's a difficult name. So you can install this, and you can see, you can like quickly configure the color. Okay, so instead of going to the inspect element, you can do it here only. Okay, so let me make it little bit of orange, I guess. Yeah, and the trackpad, we can give it as a background color to be, I guess, white. So let us see if anything is changed. Yeah, so I think it's working fine. Only thing that is required, I guess, is there is some, you can see there is some radius, right? So that can be done simply by just giving a radius. So we need to give radius to the thumb, right? So here we can add as border radius to be around let's keep it very small, 5 pixel, I guess. Yeah, sorry, we are over here. Yeah, I think it looks good. Okay, so I think we are done with the front end part. Yeah. Okay, so we are yeah, we are not missing anything. Cool. So we are done with the front end part, right? Now let's move on to the jQuery part, right? Now what happens is that whenever you need to provide in a logic to application, so at that time you need to use JavaScript, and what HTML provides us is the DOM. So DOM is nothing but the document object model. Okay, and what it gives in the JS file, what we get is that this all this property, like there is an outer div, right, which we are calling as a chat container. So that can be called as a node, and then there are different child nodes in it, right? So those kind of node kind of object that we get in JavaScript, and we are able to access them, and then we are able to change their props, listen to different event, like if I press sign out, what should happen. So we get to do that, right? There is another library called jQuery, which provides us with much more abstraction. So we have prepared one slide for it, so to understand it more clearly. So what jQuery is that we are already getting the document object model, right? So for example, if I want to select some div which is called, which ID is foo, then I can just type it as document.get element by ID foo, right? So whenever we add jQuery, we get much more abstraction, and then we can get a very smaller method like this dollar hashtag foo. So hashtag is nothing but what we use in CSS, right? To style a particular div by an ID, we use hashtag. So we get that kind of syntax, right? So this is hiding the implementation part, and we are provided with a very smaller syntax. So this will improve your speed also. Okay, and yeah, and the code will be look much shorter also with because of this. So let's start with first with installing jQuery, right? I guess we don't have jQuery here, so you can just quickly go to the browser, and I guess you can type jQuery CDN. Yeah. Yep. So you can just copy this and make sure that you are adding jQuery before this index file, right? Because since we will be using the jQuery in our JavaScript file over here, the jQuery library should be loaded before this, right? So it's better you load it in that head only. Okay. So just to take it, don't worry about the syntax. I will explain it as we go along. So just to take check if it is loaded or not, we can just use jQuery syntax, and if there is any error, we can sort it out. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, so jQuery is loaded, right? Cool. So okay, so let's keep it like this. So whenever I type like this, so okay. So whenever I type like this is nothing but an selector. Okay, so it works similar to what we use in CSS, right? So if I want to select particular div, right, if I want to select the sign out button, so what I can do is that let's provide some ID. Okay, so we can provide an ID like sign out. Okay, and if you want to select this button, what we can do simply is that we can provide an hashtag similar to what we do it in CSS file, and we can do it like this. Okay, so if it is a class, then we can do it like this. Okay, so this will be a class name. Okay, so and after that we get several functions. As you can see, read is kind of a function, like whenever the document is all the elements are loaded, this will be called, right? If you want to listen to any click event, so there is a click function for that. Okay, so all these function you can refer the documentation, and you can see that there are a lot of function like this. Okay, so let's try to first see if we are able to trigger some event. Okay, let's go with the sign out button only. I guess. And one more thing, okay, let me explain here only. If it is clicked, okay, so now what I'm typing is nothing but it is called an ES6 syntax. Okay, and this is very similar to what you guys type, like function and any function name you have. Okay, so this is similar to that, right? Okay, but you can see it is much more shorter, right? So basically on day 3 we have an separate event for that. This is nothing called as ES6 syntax, and there will be an event called modern JavaScript. So in that event in detail you will get the explanation about the modern JavaScript and its syntax. Okay, so here on click, let's just console log. uh, so sign out was clicked. I think let me check. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Inspect, and on the console, let's make it little bit. Yeah, I think if I again pressed it, sign out was clicked, so it is working, right? So any event that you want to trigger, any if something like logic you need to add when some button is clicked, you can add it over here. Okay, so now let's start with our implementation part. Let's just comment it out for a bit, and what we need to do is that whenever I type something over here and I send, but I press send, let's try to add some message in the UI, right? So the first thing that we need to do is listen to a form. So I guess we have not made a form over here. So let's just quickly do a form, and we don't require action right now. We can just give it an ID. We can call it as a message form, message input form, more precise. And let's put this whole code in the form. Okay, and what we get, so let me see if there's, yeah, there is no change. Cool. So so the first thing first, we need to select that element, right, for which we want to trigger an event. So in this case we have form, right? So we can just simply do like this, and I guess this is an ID. Sorry. And what we can do is that on submit, so E is nothing but an argument event which we will get from whenever that method is triggered. And let's just console log in it something that form was submitted. Uh, okay, okay, so it's reloading. So what we can do is that okay, so now it will not reload. If I add some, sorry, here. Okay, so form was submitted, so this event is triggered. next thing, okay, so now we are able to listen to the event, right? Now the next thing that we need to do is that we need to take what we are typing over here. Okay, so we need to take that input. Okay, so let's make step first. What we need to do, we need to take the input, and then we need to check if user has given some input, right? Because even if I don't type anything and I just press send, the form is submitting, right, which we don't want. uh, yeah, so we will check if message was given to us, right? And after that, we will make the message bubble. So this step will be cleared when I will code. And then we will add that message in UI. Okay, so these are the 4 steps that we need to do. Okay, so I think I erased this line, first line. So now we saw how to listen to the events, right? But what if you want to take some value from any input, right? So that can be done very simply, right? So first thing first, we need to select that element from which we have to take, right? So I for the input, I think we have given some ID message input. So we can type hashtag and message input and dot val. So this val function will provide the value which is there in the input, right? So what we can do is give some variable message input, and yeah. So okay, so the first part is clear, I guess, and let's check let's console log it first if it is working or not. Okay, I think yeah, it should work. Okay, so what we typed over is we are getting it, right? Now next thing is that we need to check if something was given to us, sorry, the message was given to us, right? So what we can do is we can put this input, and let's put one more condition that it is not an empty string or not. Okay, so this will check if the message was given or not, and this logic will come inside this. Okay, now okay, now it's little bit a complicated part, not that complicated. So now there are some already message in it, right? So what is the step that we need to do when we have to add a message, right? So what I did was I just copied this message. Okay, so if I want to add this message over here. Okay, so new message, right? I can type this new message. So what I did was that I copied this code and I added in the end, right? And I'm adding this in a parent div, which is the chat container message. Okay, so I did it manually this time, and you can see that there is a new message, right? Now this thing, the similar step we have to do, but we have to do this time in a dynamic manner, right? When the form was submitted, we need to do that, right? So what we can do is that for now, just you can just copy that what we need to do, right? So I just copied the HTML code and store it in some kind of variable. So let's call it as message bubble, and let's use this kind of what you can see, this kind of double quotes. So because there are double quotes here also, so try to use this. And what we can put it over here, and there are some things which we need to be dynamic, right? So we can call this as message input. And what else, this will be the sender name, right? Now what I'm doing, this is very similar to what we usually do. Like if there is a string and like this, and we need to add some variable over here, so we do this like this, right? Like plus variable, and again we do like we add some string to it, right? So this is very similar. When we use this I now don't really remember the name of this sign, but when you use that, you can use the variable like this. This will be the sender name, right? Okay, and one more thing I need to configure. We need to configure. Yeah, the avatar link. So avatar will be also be dynamic. The avatar link will be coming from our database. Okay, so we can call this as avatar link. Okay, so now we have made the message bubble and we can add it over here. Okay, so this is a JS file, so I think we have to manually format this. Sorry. Okay, so we have made the message bubble and now we need to add it in this UI, right? So where we want to add it, we want to add it in chat container messages. Okay, so let's select that first. So what we can do is first select that div and okay, see it is ID, I guess. Sorry, class. I think we are symbol is wrong. Okay, so this is chat container message and we can simply append it because we need this div to be at the last, right? Because this will be the latest message. So we can append it and we can provide, sorry, message bubble. Okay, so I think we are done. Let's see it is working or not. Yeah, we need to make this variable first. So we have message input is already there. Sender name for now, just we will just hard code it. Ankit Joshi, and the avatar link we will link it to our local image. Okay, so okay, first thing first, if I press send, nothing should happen, right? So you can see that nothing happened. And if I add some message, okay, let's put some valid message. Hi. Okay, so I think this is getting added, right? Ankit Joshi and then hi, right? So I think this is clear, right? If anyone is having doubt in this part, you can put it in the chat. Okay, I will explain it again. Okay, so moving further, let's create a function because this will be kind of a helper function which we will be using in the day two, right? In the backend part. So let's create a function for this. We can create add my message. Okay, and simply we can. Okay, so there are three arguments that we need, right? One is avatar link, and this sender name, and what else we require? Message input. And we can just simply copy this thing. Okay, and I think yes, one more thing was remaining. We forgot to do that. Okay, so let me first call this function if it is working or not. Okay, I think we didn't give the arguments to this function. Avatar link, and then we need sender name, message input. Okay, so this is getting added, right? But the thing is, you can see that input is not cleared yet, right? Because we don't want, once we added the message, this should be cleared, right? So let's just clear it. So until now, we saw how to listen to the events, we saw how to take value from the event, we saw how to add something in the UI, okay, from the append method. Now, if you want to change the value, we want to update any value, we can do that in a very similar fashion, right? So we have this method right over here. So what we can do is that instead of we'll just provide an argument this time and which will be an empty string, right? So I guess this should work. Yeah, you can see the input was cleared and the message was added. Okay, let's try to create another helper function which will be for adding sender message, okay, which we will not be using today. We will be using that, sorry, we will be using that in the day two part. Okay, so add sender message, and what we can do over here is yeah, we need to change this thing. It should be at left, and this will be other message. Okay, so this should work. Let us test it for a while. Add sender message. Okay, now what should happen is that the message should be added from here on the right side, and its color should be yellow and all. Yeah, so both the functions are working. Okay, Okay. So we will, for now today, as a front-end developer, it's your work to make the life of the back-end developer easier, and we have done that. We have provided this function to them, and they may use it whenever they are getting any messages from the database. They can just simply provide the avatar link, sender name, and message input, and that this function will add those messages in the UI, right? So we need some more helper function. The one problem that you guys can see if I reload this, I'm at the top, right? And which is not generally the case. Whenever you open WhatsApp or something, a chat messaging app, you always scroll down to the bottom, right? If I add some new message, I'm not able to see the message, right? I have to manually scroll down. Okay, so I have to manually scroll down, right? So this should happen automatically, right? So let's try to create that function. This is where the jQuery is like not powerful, but it's very handy, right? Simply what we can do is that, okay, let's create a function first. Animate, mm, okay, animate scroll at bottom. And what we can do is that in this function, first we need to select the chat. Okay, this is the only thing we can just copy it from here, and we can provide this animate function. Now this animate function, what it does is that it we have to give two parameters to it. One is the object, which will be having the properties of this particular div, and another will be the time. Okay, so the time for the animation. Okay, now here we can modify the properties of this. Okay, so what we need to modify is the, I guess, scroll top, I guess. And then again I have to, okay, so this is where like we cannot directly hard code the value, right? This will be something which will be dynamic, right? It will depend upon the messages, right? So again we have to refer this div, and we have to access this property. I guess scroll height, it should be capital. Okay, so let's test if this is working. I think it should work. Let's add when we reload the application, when the application is loaded, and whenever we add some new messages. Okay, so whenever we add new message, it should scroll at bottom. uh, I guess it's not working. Let's see why it is not working. There should be some error, or no, there is no error. Hmm. Okay, okay, let's see. Mhm. Let's try to do it in more like this. Okay, yeah, I got it. Why it's not working? So I think when we select any property like class, it generally gives an array, right? So as you can see that there can be multiple classes with the, sorry, there can be multiple divs with the same class, right? So here I think this, what it will return is an array. Okay, and we know that we are only having one class with the div with that contain messages. So we can provide with the first div which we will get will be our div, right? So I think this should work now. Yeah, it is working. So if I add new message, you can see it is scrolling down to the top. So the scroll function is done. I think we are almost done. We need some more helper function. Okay. Uh, we are not giving complete logic to the sign out button, but let's try to create some helper function which will provide some kind of security to our application, right? So whenever someone is sign out, the messages will not be visible to that person, right? So let's create two function which will be like a disable UI. So disable UI, what this function will do is that it will just disable some buttons and just clear out some messages. Okay. So first let's disable the send button, right? Because if it is not signed in, then we are not allowing him to send any message, right? Okay. So let's just select the send button. I guess we have one button send. Okay, and what we can do is that I guess we need to modify the prop, right? And prop which is disabled, we need to be true. And what is required? We need to clear out the messages, right? So again, this is a jQuery part. We saw how to get the value from any element. We saw how to listen to the events. We saw how to add something in the UI. Now, what if you want to remove something from the UI, right? uh, what our aim will be to remove all these messages that we are seeing over here. So that can also be done very simple. What we can do is that each of these messages, sorry, each of these messages that you are able to see right now is having a common class, which is message container, right? So what we can do is we can just remove all the divs which is having the class as message container. That will remove all the messages from the UI. So what we can do is and then okay, so we can just use the simple function called, I guess, remove, and let's call it when we press sign out button. Okay, let me see if everything is correct. Yeah. Yeah, it should work. Yeah, you can see the send button is disabled and all the messages are also cleared, right? And there will be some kind of a toggle. Okay, so again, this is not a complete logic. So whenever someone presses sign out, the sign out button should be changed to sign in. Okay, so like this, if I press sign out, there is all the messages are getting cleared, right? And there is a sign in option over here. So let's also change the text. Okay, now in order to change the text of the button, what we can do is first let's simply select that item. So I think it's button. Let me check if it is button sign out. What is the class? Yeah, button sign out. And then what we can do is you can modify the HTML. Now HTML here refers to this part. Okay, so what we here in HTML we can provide an argument which will change. Instead of sign out, what we will provide over here will appear. So it can be like a sign in. Okay, and yeah, you can see it is sign in, right? So let's create an similar method which will be an opposite, like enable UI, right? Whenever if I press sign in, that will be enabled. Okay, okay, let's just copy this thing and enable UI. And so this time button send will be instead of disabled, it will be false. This we will not do this. Okay, so what we will do is that we will we will just create a separate function for this. Okay, let me just first configure this enable UI, and instead of sign in there will be sign out. Okay, so this will be method for enabling the UI, and let's create another method which will be called as clear messages. Okay, and clear messages will do the same thing. Okay, and we will just call this method in each of these function. Sorry, here. Okay, so we need to test this. We are not going to use this because we don't have a toggle condition. The toggle condition will look like this. This is just the day to which we will do. Like if there is a in Firebase, if there is a current user, means the current user is signed in, then and if he is pressing the sign out button, then we will disable the UI, right? So we can just disable the UI. Else we will enable UI. Okay, so this is how we will use that. So this is how we will use that for now. Okay, so how we can test this thing? Okay, what we can do is that we can just for now just we can disable the UI at the start, and whenever I press sign in, I can press enable UI. Okay, so this is just for testing part. Okay. Okay, so you can see there is nothing over here, and if I press sign in, okay, let me just see. Return send is disabled false, and this is sign out. Enable UI is this thing. Okay, so we are actually removing everything whenever we are calling disable UI, but at least the send button should be visible, right? So you can see that send button is clicked. So both the functions are working. Let me just remove it from over here. Okay, so enable UI and disable UI will be configured on the day 2 where to use that function. So it will be similar to what we have logic over here. Okay, so I think all the helper functions that we as a front end developer we should provide to a back end developer is done. Okay, so let me test one more thing. uh, yeah, so one more thing is that there is one tag which is added in the HTML file. Okay, and this is very important tag. Okay, so let me show you what if I remove this tag and if I inspect this. Okay, as Amit said on this on the presentation part that mobile should be the first mobile user should be our first preference. If I click in the mobile side, it's not looking good, right? It's zooming out, I guess. Now HTML has provided with a meta tag. Okay, and it captures the what you can say is that whenever you first load the site, it captures the all the zoom condition and all the initial width and the scale. Okay, and it scales the application like that. Okay, so I just saved it, and you can see there is a big change, right? It is completely mobile friendly. So that is the importance of this meta tag. Okay, and it is scalable to all the mobiles. If I click this, so it's scalable, right? So I guess the front end coding part is done. Okay, and to complete this event you need to like what you can say, uh, you need to attend both this event, right? Because the application will be completed on the day 2, right? And the reason behind why we choose the tech stack HTML, CSS and JS is because these are the they are like a founding pillar. Okay, nowadays what happens is that many of the students, many of my friends, what they do is that for learning web development they directly like try to jump on any framework like React, and there are a lot of frameworks outside there. But even if you want to learn those framework, first you need to have a clear understanding of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery and all those things. And this kind of thing you will see when you are applying for any jobs. Okay, most of the roles that even in our college in Bharati Vidyapit which companies are coming are related to full stack. And when you see in the job requirement, it is specified that you should be very good in HTML, CSS, jQuery and all those things. So these are like attend complete these 3 event. Okay, so in day 1 we now covered all the HTML, CSS and JavaScript part, and in day 2, day 2 will be little bit complicated, but we have planned the course in such a manner that you will understand everything, and we will be going much deeper in Firebase, how to authenticate this app, how to do real time syncing and all those stuff. And on day 3 we will go in much more advanced concept of JavaScript. Like the JavaScript syntax is now becoming what you can say, it is more developer friendly. You can type the code in much faster way, and for that we have arranged this separate event for that. And after attending all those 3 events, it's a guarantee from the GDHC itself that you can learn any framework very easily. Okay, so I think we should move on to the doubts part. If you have in any code, I can, if you don't understand any part, that I can explain it again. And any doubt, we are ready to answer that. Okay, so you can put it in the chat also if you want.
You guys can unmute and ask also, no problem.
If you have no doubts, then it's really a great deal to us because you understand everything.
Guys, please ensure it would be very fine if that doubts are related to web development, not related to this project only, but you can definitely ask related to web development as well.
Yeah.
Our team members are very much proficient in various different web frameworks as well, such as React and Next.js and Angular. So if you have any queries regarding that, we are happy to help you out.
Yeah, and one more thing that I would like to add, also like this event will be later on available to you on YouTube also. So before the day two event start, try to create the front end like this. Do it in your own style. Okay, you can use your own creativity in that, and make sure that you are ready with the front end before the day two start. And after the day two event, you can complete. That application you can complete the wiring up of that application with database and all. So when these three events are completed, you will have an whole application with on your side that will really like what you can say impress your interview or something when you are showcasing this project. So yeah, uh, go ahead with the doubts if you have any.
Guys, if you don't have any kind of queries, we will end the meet in the next 3 to 4 minutes. So please feel free to ask if you have any kind of queries related to Google or the GDSC or the web development. Yeah, Prem Yadav is asking whether we will be uploading this to the YouTube as well. Yes, we will be definitely uploading this entire session, including day two as well, on YouTube. And along with that, up until now, whatever we have covered up till now, we have also given you the GitHub repo link as well as the app demo link as well. So you can go throughout the GitHub repo as well. Prem Yadav, can you be more specific? What kind of link? The Google YouTube link that will be uploaded within a short span. Like we haven't started uploading now. Yeah, yeah, we will definitely share it with you, and you can check the link out on the GDSC page as well. So yeah, no issues there. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, sure. I will do it in front of you guys only. Okay. Let me open the VS Code and okay. So I will push it in the main branch, I guess. Uh, okay. So if you are familiar with Git, the first thing that we need to do is what you can say add all the files that we have that are over here. So we can do that first. Okay. So here you can see that all the changes are staged, right? We need to commit it. So what you can say is completed front end of the app. Okay, so you guys can. I'm committing it to the main branch. So whenever you will clone this repo, again we will send you the link of the repo. You will get all the changes. Okay, for the day one. Okay, so I'll just push it, and we will also do one thing. I think. Okay, let's do one more thing. What can I do is that this is the main branch, right? If you want to take the template, just the template, and you want to start from there, um, I can just create a new branch. Let me create a new branch. This can be called as template. Okay, so this is a new branch, and what I will do in this is that I will just erase everything. Okay, so that you will get a template. Okay, I think do all the installation part by yourself. I will remove most of the tags. Uh, okay, so this thing is okay. And what else? JS file. I think everything is clear. I am doing it in front of you guys. So this is pretty much the template that I first had, right? So now what I can do is that I can add this, and whenever you are cloning something, okay, let me just first add everything. Okay. So when you will clone this repo, if you are using VS Code, generally what will happen is that you will be in the main branch, okay, and the whole day one code will be there, okay. Okay, so this is the day one code that we did, right? So you can see how like Git is also very powerful. So you will get this code. Simply what you have to do is you can use the command line also to check out the template branch, or simply you can just click on the main and click on the template. Okay, just let me close everything. Okay, I guess we have not updated the HTML. Let me just do one thing. We didn't save the HTML file. This is required. This is not required. Okay, I think everything is done. Okay, so whenever you will clone, you will be in the main branch, shift to template branch, and you can just create your own GitHub repository. You can also change the remote, and you can start working from over here. Okay, or if you just want to simply clone the main, the day one part that we did, you can just clone the main. Okay, so I think this is done. The GitHub repo is already shared with you, I guess. So I think you should wrap up the event, I guess, Amit.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Ankit.
Yeah.
I would like to conclude the event now. As a web developer, as a backend developer, it was very fascinating for me to see Ankit Joshi present the front end part. And even though we all as a part are still students, we both are in final year. Listening to you made me feel like I was listening to some kind of expert web developer who's working in a company as of now. Even though you are an intern, your knowledge base is definitely way above an intern, and your presentation skills were very flawless. So thank you for such a graceful event, and thank you all for the participants for being such cooperative and getting all the concepts clear in the first get go without any kind of doubts. So thank you very much for that. And with the permission of all my team members, I would like to close off the event. And thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of this event.
We will see you in day 2 event. Okay.